Before we get into today's video, I want to let you guys know that today's Valiant video, Bloodshot, is actually brought to you by Valiant and their Humble Bundle of Valiant Heroes. Now, all proceeds of this Humble Bundle go to Keep a Breast Foundation, which is the leading nonprofit organization with a mission to empower young people around the world with breast health, education, and support. This Humble Bundle allows you to get 90+ issues of Valiant's best and most revered comic series in their all-new offering benefiting Keep a Breast. It consists of about 24 trade paperbacks and collections spanning many of the Valiant's most popular heroes titles, and you get a chance to win a limited edition Exo Man of War #1 Virgin Art variant. And on top of all of that, I've made 5 exclusive videos, so you'll get videos from me that you can't get anywhere else, catching you up on your favorite heroes in the Valiant universe so that you know where you should start with all of these comic books that you're about to purchase. The total retail value of this Humble Bundle is $385, but you can get it for as low as $1 all the way up to $25, and that'll get you everything that's in the bundle. It has something for everybody, from hardcore fans to the newer fans. And today's Valiant video, I thought that if you're watching the Valiant video, you might enjoy a giant collection of Valiant comics given to you through the Humble Bundle. So click the links down below to participate, and don't forget guys, it's all for a charity. So if you don't even think you're gonna read the comics, but you want to support Valiant or just the Keep a Breast Foundation, then yes, go over there and go ahead and participate. Anyway, let's get started with the Bloodshot video. In her last video, Bloodshot, Ray Garrison lived out a quiet life with magic where the two of them got to grow old together. But after a visit from his old friend Ninjak, Ray learned that the world that they were in wasn't what it seemed. After being freed from the world simulation by Livewire, Ray found himself on an island with none other than his trusty pal Bloodsquirt. Ray began to look around at the now new strange island, trying to figure out where he was. But as Bloodsquirt tells him to just slow down and smell the flowers, Ray remembers that he still needs to find magic she's still missing. After a little bit of exploration, Ray finds himself walking along a beach, and as he gets closer to the shore, he finds himself walking into a force field. However, before he can even attempt to try and figure out why there's a force field here, there's a loud boom in the distance. Over back in the woods, the explosion goes off and Ray notices something fly over his head. But before he can try and figure out what that was, another explosion goes off. He starts to run into the woods and he suddenly trips over a box sticking out of the ground. Inside is a bunch of guns and ammo. He grabs a gun and he starts to load it, and then he hears the cracking of twigs behind him. But before he can react, a white dog with red eyes runs up barking. The dog barks again and Ray aims his gun at another Bloodshot? Both men demand to know who each other are, but Ray says that he's the one with the gun. And he's run into enough guys that look like him recently, and none of them were very good. The man then says at least give him a gun too, there's no time to waste. He asks where they are and the man says the island. He has no clue as to where the island is. The dog begins to sniff the air and the man says Bloodhound smells her. And then he tells Ray that she's coming. They're gonna have to grab as much as they can because the Angel is bombing right now, and when she's done, she's gonna start hunting them. Then there's another explosion, almost as if it's on cue. The man shouts for them to move, they have to meet up with everyone else, but before Ray can even ask what did he mean by the others, he sees 3 other men, all Bloodshots. And the man tells him, welcome to the Bloodshot Squad. The Russian asks where did he come from and what year is it? So Ray tells him it's 2016, and the Russian tells him, 2016? How many years have we been here? One of the soldiers says that he's not quite sure. Last he remembers is Kuwait in '92. So Ray asks if anyone has seen a blonde girl, and the soldier tells him that there's only one girl here and he doesn't want to meet her. Did Viet Man tell him? Tank Man then steps in, stating that he's sorry. Quiet Man here doesn't mean to be a prick. Ray then asks, what are with these names? Viet Man? Quiet Man? The Russian says, yeah, he's Cold Man. The one who brought him out was Viet Man. But as everyone introduces themselves, Quiet's head explodes, and Viet shouts, she's here, Deathmate! Everyone looks up to see a woman floating in front of them. The men open fire, but as she disappears, she reappears, stabbing Cold Man in the back. Tank shouts for everyone to take cover and he fires an RPG, but Deathmate just grabs the grenade and holds it. The rocket-propelled grenade explodes, throwing everyone to the ground, and Deathmate then turns back to Tank and shoots him. Ray, Viet, and Bloodhound all begin running, but after a short run, Viet stops, stating that there's no point. They might as well just die here as well. Ray says that if they're real Bloodshots, they'll just heal back up and keep fighting. And Viet asks, what does he think they're doing every damn day? And that causes Ray to pause. What do you mean every damn day? Viet says that this is something they do every day. They heal up, they get released back into the jungle, and then Deathmate hunts them all over again. So Ray asks the obvious question. How long has this been happening? And Viet says that he lost track a few months ago. It's been at least 5 years. But before Ray can ask any more questions, another explosion goes off and Ray dives into the waters. He swims back up, opening fire, but Deathmate just rips Viet apart and throws Bloodhound to the side. Ray points his gun, telling the woman to stop, which she does for a moment. She then grabs Ray and looks at him, asking if he's new. Ray looks at the woman's face because something seems familiar. and then the woman's hand squeezes tighter and tighter until Ray's head pops. While this is happening, a group of men watch from a monitor room, and then a man named Kozel tells the other to go ahead and recall Project Deathmate, send out the cleaning crews, and get ready to do it all again tomorrow. As the siren begins to ring throughout the bunker, Tank shouts for everyone to hurry up and get up. Today is gonna be the day. Quiet tells him, sure, keep on thinking that. And Ray steps in stating, no, Tank's right. Something is different now. Cold asks, what's so different about today? And Ray finishes loading his shotgun as he says, me. Meanwhile, over in New Mexico, Agent Diana Festival heads out to try and find information on Project Rising Spirit. As she gets out of her Jeep, she pulls out a map trying to look for PRS's last declassified location. While she looks around at the empty field, she closes her eyes and begins to see a vision of what used to be there. Once she opens up her eyes, she begins walking and kicks up an old "Do Not Enter" sign. Over at the PRS headquarters, Kozel watches Diane and tells his men it's pretty rare for someone to find them when there isn't much information about them. They should bring her in. Once everyone is done stocking up, Ray asks where is it that Deathmate comes from, and Viet tells him that he doesn't know. She's probably Project Rising Spirit like the rest of them. Ray shakes his head, stating, not that, we're on the island. She must have a base of operations while we heal. Quiet says that they haven't come across anything. All they know is that she flies from a higher ground, and Cold suggests that maybe from the hill on the far side of the island. Ray then suggests that they split up into two pairs and make their way over to the high ground. Maybe Deathmate's bunker can give them a little insight on that thing. As Ray and Tank head off, Ray looks at Tank and asks if he's really from World War II. Tank tells him, yep, deployed to the beaches of Normandy in '44. Hell, my platoon was called the Crazy Crew, and we walked right up to Adolph's doorstep. Ray then asks how. The nanotechnology that makes them could only be a few years old. Tank says that it wasn't nanotech then, it was good old-fashioned drugs and hydraulics. After the war, they froze him, and when he woke up, that was when they put the nanotech in. Same with the others. Ray thinks about that for a moment, and then he mentions that with all of them here, it's like they're training her. But before Ray can go further into his thoughts about the entire situation, an explosion goes off in the distance. Ray and Tank quickly run over to see Quiet and Cold fighting off Deathmate and losing. After shooting down Quiet, Deathmate turns her focus to Ray, and as she looks at him, she flies off. While Deathmate flies towards Viet and Bloodhound, Ray says they should use this time to go up the hill. Tank asks, why didn't she just kill us? Why did she stop when she saw you? While the two men run, Ray tells him that he really doesn't know, and he has no idea what's going on. He's trying to make sense of this whole situation. Soon the two hear an explosion and Tank says that she's coming back. Ray tells him to hurry, but Tank stops and tells him, go on ahead and don't worry. I'll see you tomorrow, so go! Ray runs ahead, but not long after he hears Tank scream out in pain. He continues trucking along and he finds the bunker that contains Deathmate and he throws a grenade into it. The bunker explodes and Ray coughs, telling Deathmate, sorry about your house. He then opens fire as she floats down, but the bullets do nothing. She grabs Ray and picks him up and he tells her, just go ahead, we won't stop. But Deathmate stops for a moment and asks him, do I know you? And after hearing her voice, he asks, are you Kay? For those of you guys who don't know who Kay is a geomancer who died while Ray was protecting her, but she did get rid of the nanotechnology within Ray's body. She changed him from being nothing but Bloodshot to Ray Garrison with the abilities of Bloodshot. He means a lot to her, and he's been seeing her as an apparition in his mind as she tells him what he should and shouldn't do. If you're more curious about Kay and what her role to Ray is, then I'll link you all of the Bloodshot videos down below. Back at the PRS headquarters, one of the workers tells Kozel that they have a problem. She is fighting back against the memory and emotion suppression, and Ray took out the regeneration pod. It's time they shut down this whole thing. Kozel tells him not yet. No one has ever lasted this long. They need to see how this plays out. Back outside, Ray begins to ask, how are you here? What did they do to you? Kay's grip tightens as she tells him, I am not Kay. I am Deathmate. But before any damage can be done, Kay lets go as Bloodhound jumps up, biting into Kay's arm. Ray shouts that he just wants to help, but Kay's arm changes into a gun as she tells him, I don't want your help! He tries to plead with her, telling her that she doesn't need to do this, they know each other! And she begins firing into Ray. But then Bloodhound jumps up, biting away at Kay's leg. Ray takes the chance and he fires back, but with Bloodhound's quick thinking, he bites the pin off of the grenade and tosses the pouch into the air. As they hit Kay, all of the grenades go up, blowing her away. Bloodhound starts barking to follow, and Ray tells him he's the boss. After a bit of running, he asks where is he taking him, and Bloodhound starts barking at a large tree. The dog starts walking down onto the roots, and Ray asks, what's the humming noise that I'm hearing? As they go further in, Ray sees a giant metal wall. He examines the wall, stating that it's real thick, and the current behind it is messing with his nanites, probably a security measure to keep them from finding it. But if they aren't supposed to find it, that means that she can't see them here either. Ray sits down petting the dog, telling him that it's probably what he's been trying to tell everyone this whole time, huh? He knew that he was the smartest of the bunch. Ray leans back, stating, that woman, he knew her. Her name was Kay McHenry. A long time ago she saved him, or at least he thought she saved him from being Bloodshot. Then she died, or so it seemed. Ray balls his fist, stating that Project Rising Spirit did this to them. And now Kay. So it's time that those bastards die, every last one of them. The truth is, he barely knew Kay, but there was something about her, the way she talked and looked at him, like he wasn't a machine or a killer. In fact, she thought that he was a hero, or at least that he could be. And after she died, everything went real bad until he met Magic. Magic, the girl that he met, made him forget about Kay, and she made him forget about a lot of other bad stuff as well. But he just let her down like he let Kay down. If she's still alive, he promises that he has to leave Magic alone and keep her away from all of this. But as Ray goes on talking to himself and the dog, a thought crosses his mind. How do they get back to the bunker every morning after they die? Ray and the dog run back out from the opening to where Cold and Quiet were killed, but the bodies are already gone. Suddenly, bullets rain down and Ray looks back to see Kay firing on them. He tells Bloodhound to lead them back to the bunkers, and the two of them begin running. But as they get to the bunker, Ray spots two men dragging the Bloodshots back in. One of the men holds out his arm, stating, "You can't do this! It's against the rules!" Ray holds his gun at the man, telling him, "There's some new rules. You're gonna help me get off of this island." An explosion goes off, and Ray tells everyone to get into the bunker. And once they get inside, Ray helps place the bodies back into their healing pods and asks how long does it normally take for them to regenerate. One of the men says about 4 hours, but it won't matter. She will break in. They have no idea what she is. Ray grabs the man, stating that he knows exactly who she is. "Now, you're gonna help me get off of this island." The man says that he can't, they'll kill him, and Ray slams his head into the wall, telling him, "Wrong answer!" And then he turns to the other man. That man decides to tell him that there's another bunker not far, and it leads to a series of tunnels that go to the control hub. There, they can turn off the force field. Ray tells him, "Good. All we have to do is wait until morning when the others wake up then." As Ray starts climbing back up the ladder to get out, the other man asks him, "Where are you going?" Ray looks back and he tells him, "We're all leaving together, including Kay." As Ray gets back outside, he looks over the weapons cache and he thinks about how he has to believe that he can bring her back. She saved him once, or at least tried, and now he has to help her. And if not, he'll have to kill her so she doesn't come back like a monster like him. But as Ray sets off, he continues to think about how all of this feels so bad. Like everything is connected to one place, so it's time to get Kay's attention. He begins setting the woods on fire and then he waits until Kay shows up. She grabs Ray, she throws him off of a ledge onto some rocks, breaking his arm. Ray tells her to wait, but Kay flies in, slamming him back into the ground. She grabs a hold of him, throwing him into the air, and she begins shooting him. The bullets tear through his body, and as he hits the ground, he tries to pick himself back up. He tries to escape, but he trips and he falls, and he realizes where he's at. He's at the spot that Bloodhound showed him. All he has to do is get inside. However, as he begins to crawl, he sees a pair of feet float down in front of him. And then he looks up to see Kay aiming her gun at him. He tries to tell her that it's him. She doesn't have to do this. And she tells him, there's no more Kay, only Deathmate. She gets ready to fire, but then she's blasted away by an RPG. And Bloodhound begins barking as the rest of the Bloodshots stand there, aiming their weapons towards Kay. Viet runs over, grabbing Ray, and Quiet gets ready to fire onto Deathmate. Ray shouts for him to stop. But back at the PRS headquarters, Kozul gives the order to bring Kay back in. She rockets off into the sky and he tells his men to sink the island. It's time for Phase 2. The now captured Diana asks, what is all of this for? What is Phase 2? And Kozul pulls out his phone and tells her, we're planning for a war. And he presses a button. He goes on to state that what happened back in Colorado was a test run, and now it's time for the main event, the Bloodshot virus. Out in the city below them, everyone begins to scream out in pain as their eyes begin to change, and then their skin. Soon, the entire city of New York stands back up, all infected by the Bloodshot virus. Several hours later, Ray and the other Bloodshots sit on a makeshift raft watching Bloodshot Island sink. And he tells everyone that the nanites are screaming that something is wrong. Something is very wrong. And that brings us to the conclusion of Bloodshot Island. Next up, Bloodshot USA. Seriously, out of all of the Valiant books, Bloodshot is definitely my favorite right now. Quickly followed up by The Wrath of the Eternal Warriors. So if you're curious about that one, you need to go check out that one. I definitely gotta finish up that series and tell you guys how that one ends as well. Don't forget, this is a recap of your favorite stories, and if you wanna go check out the next part of it, it's called Bloodshot USA. I will be getting to it eventually, but don't worry, you can go buy it right now or subscribe to the channel to see it when we cover it. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here.